Are you looking for a GPS watch that's going to track your next hike at a reasonable price? Then the Garmin ForeRunner 35 GPS watch is just the one for you. Let's go! Hello long distance hikers and long term world travellers, Russ here bringing you the best tips and inspiration for hiking around the world. This is the Garmin ForeRunner 35 GPS watch. I bought it primarily to track my hikes so I could track my progress while I was out there walking and see my mileages and how fast I was going. It does track your heart rate and your calories burnt, but I don't think it's that accurate and I don't really use that feature anyway. I'm mainly just interested in tracking distance, time taken and mileages on my hikes, so that's the main reason why I bought this. I bought this from John Lewis, and at the time of making this video it cost £109 with a 2-year guarantee. It weighs just 37 grams and comes in a really nice shiny black colour as well, so it looks quite cool too. It weighs in at just 37 grams and is at the lower price point of most watches like this, so I think it's a really good deal for what you're getting, and it's Garmin, so you know it's going to be quite good quality. Okay, so now we've talked about some of the features and the specs, let's talk about some of the things that I really loved about this watch, especially as well some of the things that I really didn't like so much. First things that I really loved about this watch is that it's really easy to use, although there's a lot of features on there that I really don't use, like running and different exercise types. It's really simple, minimalistic and lightweight, and it charges super duper fast. I literally, like within 25 minutes to half an hour from completely flat, this thing really charges up all the way to full. And if I plug it into my Anker PowerCore power bank, which has Qualcomm quick charge, it charges this thing even faster, which is really good while I'm on the trail. The battery life on this is insane. In GPS mode, which is the most energy costly mode of this watch, I can get about 13 to 13 and a half hours out of this, so it's really good for a really long distance hike, and I can charge it while I'm on the move as well. So if it runs out of battery or gets close to really dead battery, I can actually take this off, plug it into my power bank, stick it in my bag while it's charging. Within 20 minutes it's good to go again. This is good because it means while it's charging I don't have to take off the GPS mode, I can just keep it running and tracking my hike. Together with the Garmin iOS app on my phone, this thing updates in real time, which is really good. Also, if you connect this thing to Strava, it updates there automatically if you change your settings so that it can do so. And another really cool thing is if this thing's connected to Strava, there's this platform called Relive, where once you've done a hike, it uploads to Strava, and then Relive grabs that data from your recorded hike, and it makes this really cool 3D map kind of video thing, which is one of my favorite things to do with this watch, and I've just started putting it into my hiking videos to give you guys, the dedicated viewer, a really good view as to where I actually went on the hike. So there's a link just up here to my Snowdon hike, which has a really good example of that working. The last really good thing that I absolutely love about this watch, and I think for every Garmin watch just like this that even is a bit more expensive, they tell you how many miles you've walked, and it gives you a little buzz and a notification telling you how many miles you are doing. It comes up on the screen showing you your pace, the miles walked, all the kilometers. You can actually change the units if you wish to do so. And I just like that. When I was doing the South Downs Way, it was really good to know what mile of the walk I was on in that day. Also, that enabled me to gauge when the next town was, where the next water point was, how far away from those things I was at that given time. And also, because it shows you a very accurate reading of your pace, you can up the pace or lower the pace if you want, to make sure that you're doing the right amount of miles you want to do in that day. Together, I think people use these watches for running, together with the Strava and Garmin app on your phone, but I just like to use these for hiking. Okay, now we've talked about some of the things that I really like, let's talk about some of the things that I really didn't like so much. The first real pet peeve with this watch is that I usually have to switch it off at night, or make sure it's not in my room, or make sure that it's in a drawer tucked away somewhere, because the heart rate monitor, if you leave this thing on the floor or lying around, the green light on the heart rate monitor actually flashes a really bright green light at night, and it keeps me awake. So it's really annoying if I've taken the watch off and I've just, force of habit, put it down on the sideboard or something like that, and the green light is just flashing all night and it wakes me up. So that's a really annoying feature. What would be really nice is if it knows that it's not being worn, just switch the heart rate monitor off. Either that or just switch the entire watch off or tuck it away somewhere. The second thing that I really don't like about this watch is in fact the charging cable. It's made of this really unique kind of crocodile style clip charging cable, and it's really hard to find one. You have to get the official Garmin one, which means you have to go to like an Argos or a John Lewis or somewhere that actually sells these watches to see if you can buy a spare, and if they don't, it means you've either got to buy one online or you've got to buy a completely new watch, which is absolutely ridiculous. I was in a rush to get one before I went away last year because I lost it, and had to go straight to the seller. I didn't have time to see if I could get one delivered to me online. So yeah, a bit of a pain. What I wish they should have done is actually use like a USB, micro USB kind of cable. I think that would have been a lot better, because you can find those cables anywhere. Most devices these days come with a micro USB cable as standard, so you could just use the same cable for multiple devices, including your watch. So yeah, I just wish they had used that instead of this really ridiculous, unique charging cable. I'm not sure if this is the case for all Garmin watches and what type of charging cables they use, but the chances are that you're only going to have one of these watches at a time. If you have more than one type of watch with Garmin, you might use it for different types of activities, and they might actually come with the exact same kind of style crocodile clip charger, but yeah, again, if they'd used the micro USB connector, it'd be a lot more handy. The next thing that I really don't like about this watch is it takes quite a while to retrieve a resting heart rate and GPS when you're just about to start your hike. There have been so many times when I've started a hike and I've put the watch on and I've put it into the walk mode, and I literally have to stand there for about 5 minutes while it finds my resting heart rate. Maybe it's something to do with my biology, I don't know, but it also takes quite a while to find a GPS signal. Even though my phone's got a GPS signal and I can see the icon on my phone, this thing takes a little bit more time to pick one up, so that's another thing to look out for. Another thing that I don't like about this watch is that if you pause your hike or activity for long enough, it will actually just cancel the activity. It won't delete it, but it will just stop what it was doing, and then you have to start all over again. So if I was going on like a 10-mile hike and I wanted to get the whole thing in one continuous kind of recording, and I paused it because I wanted to stop to have something to eat. What's annoying about that is it would actually stop the recording and then I'd have a split map or a split recording of that hike, which is really annoying because I just really like to get an entire recording of a trek instead of having these split treks and then uploading it to Strava. And maybe it's just a little bit of OCD in me. It doesn't really matter. It's not the end of the day, but if you like to record hikes just like I do, you'll probably understand. This just makes it very difficult to record longer hikes. I think this is another reason why this is more geared up for people who are running, because the likelihood of a runner is that they're going to be running for a lot shorter a period of time than someone who's doing like a long distance hike throughout a day or a couple of days. The next thing that I don't like so much about this watch is that you can't import maps or waypoints. You can't use this thing like a Garmin Inreach. It won't tell you your waypoints or where you are on a map. It just doesn't work like that. That's not what it's for. If you want that kind of functionality, then I would recommend going for something a little bit more expensive up in the Garmin range, because there are plenty of watches out there that do it. The thing is, I don't know about the battery life and the capabilities of those watches because I've never owned them, although I do know a lot about the Garmin Inreach. And what I would actually recommend doing is, if you've got one of these already, then I would go out and buy a Garmin Inreach separately and only use that when you really need to find your waypoints. So if it snows and you've lost the trail and you need to do some navigation, then I wouldn't rely solely on this. That's not what it's for. Then just whack out your Garmin Inreach and use that to use your waypoints. And lastly, there is one last thing that I don't like so much. I mean, I do love this watch, believe me, but I do wish that the strap on it was a lot more breathable. It gets very sweaty on my wrist, especially when I'm hiking in hot weather, because the rubber just isn't breathable. On the actual outside, the rubber looks like it's got like a kind of grooved kind of texture to it, which I believe would have been better to put on the inside, because then it would allow your skin to breathe a bit more. But because the rubber on the inside is very flat and very smooth, it actually stops your skin from breathing as much. So I wish they'd used a slightly different material for the strap to stop the sweating, which is actually quite bad. Especially for a watch that's geared up to be worn as a sports watch, sweating is inevitable. Overall, this is a fantastic watch for newcomers to the GPS watch market. It's really great for recording and tracking your mileage while you're hiking, but what I think I'll do for my next watch is kind of go a little bit more up the market and spend a few more pounds on getting something with a few more features that are specifically for trekking. Either that, or I'll stick to this and I'll get a Garmin Inreach Mini, because I think that's much more capable for using waypoints and for navigation, and then I'll keep this and just use that when I need to. The Garmin Inreach Mini is a fantastic new product out there, and I'm really intrigued to see what that's like, but obviously you can't wear that on your wrist like this watch, so this is very convenient, very lightweight. Okay everybody, campfire question: what GPS tracking device do you use and why? Okay folks, thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked it, then hit that thumbs up. Do be sure to watch either of the videos to my side here. Also, if you haven't done already, do consider subscribing to my channel for more videos just like this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.